Hello, my name's Rob and welcome to SwiftSlots. Now, as I've said before, I don't buy very many brand new cars because they're just a little bit too pricey for me. However, today I've pushed the boat right out and I bought this BRM Alfa Romeo. Now, why did I push the boat so far out and buy this car? Because A, it's beautiful. B, it's a 1/24th scale Alfa Romeo. C, it's in Gulf colours. And D, it's beautiful. I might have mentioned that already. Anyway, I'm going to get you on the table and I'm going to show you this car in decent detail, and then we're going to pop it onto Ricard Valley and give it a gentle run around. I'd like to take it to the club track, but it's a little bit far away. I don't have facilities big enough at home to run 1/24th scale properly, so Ricard Valley will do. Anyway, let's get you on the table and let's show you this magnificent car. Okay, so let's get to showing you this wonderful car. Now, we've all seen BRM boxes before, and I do feel like I'm going over the same ground all over again. So we've all seen the really hard boxes. There's nothing new there. And we've all seen the outer casing, and we've all seen this inner casing here, and there we are. What we might not have all seen is this stunning looking car. I mean, look at that. Now, as you might have seen from my earlier videos, I've actually done one of these already from SwiftSlots, and I did it myself from a white kit. Absolutely stunning car and unbelievably fast on the track. And it was such a pretty car, I just had to buy the big brother to it. And look at it. What a beautiful car. There's not one single piece of paint blemish on it. Everything is exactly where it should be, and it's just stunning. Now, I was worried whether this car would be a little bit on the small side because it's not a big car and the 1/32nd scale car is quite small. But this in 1/24th scale is a really nice size. It's got a nice volume to it. Say compared to my hand, it's not a small car at all. Look, it's a decent size. So you really do feel like you get what you pay for when you buy these 1/24th scale cars, or certainly this one. And I've noticed that the interior is actually a little bit more in relief than the 1/32nd scale SwiftSlots one. So there's a little bit more detail in there. There's a little bit more depth. I think I can actually see a gearbox tunnel down there as well, or whatever it might be. I'm not entirely sure, but it's definitely a decent amount of depth. There's a decent roll cage in there as well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this body off and show you the interior, but yeah, you can see the parcel shelf there's got some relief in it. And I can actually see the dashboard's really. I'm going to see if I can get you in there. I don't know if I can actually. See if I can show you in there. The dashboard is there. I can see the clocks as well. I'll see if I can get you in this side and just see. Maybe. Not sure. But I can see the clocks in there and the steering wheel. So there's a decent amount of detail. And this is not just a 1/32nd scale blown up. There's actually a bit more going on with it than that. So let's just take her off the base. And I can show you the underside. And there we are. Really, really nice. I say it's full metal in the middle section and the outer section with a plastic rear sill here, or rear valance, just the same as the 1/32nd scale. No difference at all. It's got independent front wheels, obviously bearings on the front as well. Nice deep guide, nicely sprung. It's got a nice BRM motor in there. What does it say? Don't know. We can't see. 19,000 RPM motor, and some plastic gears. Although that one, is that metal? No, they're both plastic gears. There we are. And I think they might be alloy. Yeah, they're definitely alloy from the back. I don't know if that detail is a plastic insert or not. I think that might be a plastic insert in the middle. Definitely an aluminium outer wheel. So there we are. Let's get another close look. Just there. Now we can see, look at the front end on that. Lovely, lovely lights. So these are really highly reflective lights with a nice bit of silvering behind the actual lens. Really nice Alfa Romeo grille with a well-defined badge. Beautiful markings on the front here. Really clean and crisp. All the lines are perfectly done. I cannot see one single imperfection on this car. A lovely emblem there. Really clean Gulf. And all these little rivets on the larger scale really show up much nicer than they do on the 1/32nd scale SwiftSlots. With my rivets on my SwiftSlots build, I actually sanded those down slightly so they weren't quite so obtrusive. So if you look at the real life car, these rivets are there, but they're nowhere near as pronounced as they are with it represented on the 32nd scale. But on this 24th scale, they're absolutely perfect. They're there, they're subtle, you can see that they're there, but they're not screaming at you. Look at the shape on the back of that car though, beautiful. And all the wheels are nicely tucked up. Again, lovely pinstriping down the side, really nicely defined emblem there, and little Golf logos and so on. Really nice on the roof as well, beautifully crisp and clear. All the silvering perfectly done around the windows and the back end. Got separately fitted lights in there with little silver trims. Again, very, very nicely done. All the lining is perfect all the way up to under the car. And you can see on the back end there, very, very nice recessed fuel filler cap with the boot latches all defined in silver as well. Come round to the other side of the car and start again. So there we are. So as I say, we've got the two-piece chassis here. Now there is actually a recess there, and the reason why there is a recess there is because this car comes with a little bag of extra parts. So we've got a really nifty little exhaust there. Not quite sure why they didn't fit it anyway, but never mind. We've also got a few other bits as well. So we got a pair of rear door mirrors just here to go on, which is no big deal. And we've also got these little rubber latches for the boot and the bonnet, and they come off that sprue. I will take them out for you and I'll show you because they're very, very nice. I don't know if I'm going to bother to fit them, but they are really cool. So they're rubber, they're completely rubberized, so they're not going to break. And their boot latches are bonnet latches, and I assume that they will go somewhere around here, and presumably somewhere on the front there, or wherever they might go, wherever the boot hinges up. But I'm not really bothered about fitting them, to be honest with you. We've also got a few other bits in here which honestly I'm not entirely sure where they go, and I'm sure there'll be lots of people now screaming at me saying, Rob, you fool, they go here, there and everywhere. Well, okay, maybe. But we've got these pieces here. Now I presume they are the little clamps for these latches. I presume that little fork goes into the front to hold it, and these little pieces here, they've got little fold lines. I'm not entirely sure how they fold up. I'm sure it's obvious if I really thought about it, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to fit any of these parts, I don't think, apart from probably the exhaust and the wing mirrors, obviously. So those are the little parts you do get that aren't actually fitted to the car. Watch me make a mess of putting those back in that bag. So, no, not too bad. So I've got about 8 pieces of 10 back in there. So there we are. Anyway, so that is the little bag of parts that you get. So this car isn't missing them, they're in the bag. And obviously in the box we get the BRM sticker we've always seen. And also in the box, as is usual, we get the pamphlet that comes with the car, showing you the other versions of the car. And we get the usual list of parts that the car has got, and there's some alternative parts on the back, which are these pieces here. All very normal stuff. I'm not going to bore you with that because everybody's seen it all before. Now this particular car, this car has the chassis, or the body slides off the side of the chassis, as in some of the other cars, that you don't have to undo the screws to get it off. You can just pop your thumb in there and you just spread the body and take out the chassis like that. There we are. Oh, there's another piece that I see. I'm going to lose these bits if I'm not careful. I'll pop in there. So anyway, there's the body. So there's the underside. And as I say, I can't really take it out the car because it's all heated in there. But we got little rubber posts, the same as the 1/32 scale. And you can see just how deeply relieved this body actually is, the interior. So there's quite a bit more going on there than in the 1/32 scale that's just a vacuum formed sheet. Much, much nicer. So it's not just a blown up 132. It's actually got a lot more detail in there, which is really, really nice. Like I say, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you the interior. I have tried. Maybe I might take a picture of it and then post the picture amongst the video. So there we are. Anyway, that's the body. So here is the chassis on both sides. Again, it's very, very similar, if not exactly the same to the 1/32 scale car. We've got the little float brass nuts there to adjust the float. And then we've got a nice adjusting plate there for your motor. Lovely blue anodizing this time. I guess that's fitting for the Golf colour. And yeah, the gear mesh is very, very smooth. No problem there. The tyres seem very, very sticky. You've got some brass spacers at the back. And as I said, you've got the independent front wheels at the front. Again, little aluminium housings. All very, very similar stuff to what we've already seen before. One thing I have noticed with this car, so that chest setup there is very, very loose. I wonder if those are a little bit... Yes, they are. Right, okay. So this car, these screws here are actually loose. Hence the reason why it's wobbling so much. So I'm going to nip those up and see how much movement we've now got with those screws done right the way up. So there we are. Right, so that has now, there, you've got a little bit of movement, but not a lot. So yes, a little tiny bit of movement there, a lot less than it was. I don't know if that is going to show up particularly, but there, hopefully you can see that there's not a lot of movement there. So it doesn't shimmy around at all, we just got that little bit of float. So there we are, so that's the chassis. Oh, I've just noticed, unless my car is damaged, which I hope it isn't, that front end looks like it's got a little bit of caster on that front wheel. Hopefully that's caster set into the bearing block and not my car being damaged. I suspect it's caster with the bottom of those bearing blocks ever so slightly angled because there's nothing bent here. So yeah, I think that is. I think that's a little bit of front end caster on the front wheels there. So there we are, and there's no caster on the back end because we haven't got the UJ in the back, so it's just a standard straight axle, as you can see. So there we are, so that's the beautiful aluminium chassis, and also the even more beautiful Alfa Romeo body, and the extra bits that I've shown you. So let's take her on the track, and let's see how she runs, or let's see how she looks running, because I don't want to run her too hard, because I don't want to scratch my beautiful car. So there we are, my absolutely beautiful 1/24 scale Alfa Romeo. Now, I'm not very good at doing these reviews, it's not really my comfort zone, but this is such a joy to do, to look at, to own. I felt I had to do some sort of documentation on it. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this sort of content, and if you have, maybe you'll subscribe. And if you could hit the little bell button, that would be awesome. So until the next time, thank you very much.